Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Nathan back with another video presentation. Happy Tuesday if you're on the West Coast, Wednesday if you're on the East Coast. Welcome to Big Nate Talk Podcast. This is episode 12. I hope each and every one of you had a great weekend or off to a great week, staying safe. Before we get into the video, there is a few things I want to say up front. Why does it feel like my screen? Maybe it's just me. Things look smaller. Maybe it's just me. I'm sorry. Before we get into there's a few things I need to say up front. As far as up until episode 8 has been uploaded on Anchor and it'll be on Spotify. Now, I don't know what I did when I downloaded the file for season 3. It's not there. So I looked for it. I already had deleted it because you only get a certain amount of storage on StreamYard when you record, when you go live and you want to save your videos. So I actually deleted episode 3, but you want to check it out on my YouTube channel. It's there, but the audio version, I do apologize. Yeah, I just don't have episode 3. But the rest of the episodes, they will be up tomorrow. That's why my screen was okay. That's much better. The other episodes will be uploaded 9, 10, 11, 12 will be uploaded tomorrow because after this, I'm going to sleep. Friday's episode is going to be different because now that we have gotten through all 18 weeks of football.
Relationship with your children.
My God.
It is time. We're going to do a playoff preview of the playoffs. We got the wild card that starts Saturday evening, and then we got Sunday, and then we got obviously the divisional, then the championship, then the Super Bowl. Season 5 will most likely end after the Super Bowl. That is the goal. As far as after the Super Bowl, I might take a couple days off to kind of just take a mental break. I'm not sure where I'm at with that. Season 5 could end earlier, but my goal is to start season 6 of the podcast after the Super Bowl. So I think that's going to be the target date to end season 5 is the Super Bowl. In this episode, we're going to talk about a couple things. Unfortunately, and I will address this more in Friday's episode when I vent about the Baltimore Ravens. We finished the year 8-9, and we did not make the playoffs. And also to the Washington football team. So those two teams, I will get more into depth with what went right, what didn't, what went wrong, what to expect in the offseason, because I got a boatload of questions. And I will vent Friday. So be prepared for that. So in this episode, I'm just going to recap the game against Pittsburgh. We beat the Washington football team. We beat the New York Giants, but that was obviously that was light work. Got to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. We could have had a tie, but Mr. Brandon Stanley, I just thank you for ruining that. What else? The Washington Wizards. The Wizards beat the Orlando Magic the other night, and we beat Oklahoma City tonight. And then we're obviously going to recap the national championship college football game, Alabama versus Georgia. We're also going to talk about Maryland. Maryland took a loss to Minnesota, and we play Northwestern as of now, Wednesday today. And the women beat let me make sure I have this right, because I'm all over the place. The men lost to Wisconsin, and the women beat Minnesota. Excuse me. So we're going to recap those games, and also Towson Basketball. There's a couple of things I want to talk about with the WNBA Offseason. Yes, I did my homework. There's a couple of things for each question for each team. I want to talk about what they need to address in the offseason. And then I want to get into Cathy Englebert, because Cathy Englebert, I was reading the New York Times. Shout out to Erica Ayala, I think, who wrote the article. Yes, it was Erica Ayala. Shout out to her. There were some things that Cathy said that disturbs me about her comments with the WNBA and talking about expansion and different things like that. So that's episode 12 that we're going to talk about this evening. If you're enjoying the podcast, you want to see more like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe. Leave your comments, suggestions, and the thoughts of what you want me to talk about in each episode. Again, bring your sports game. Again, thank you for the support that I appreciate the support that I've been getting on the channel. Let's just get into it. So, painfully, that was my introduction. Painfully, this was a very, very difficult weekend as the Baltimore Ravens were, up until week 18, still in playoff contention, lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers in overtime, 16-13.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming, or act like I know this was coming, because I did it.
What the hell was that? I'm pissed off. Get it together. Y'all look like trash.
I'm glad we lost the game. I am. For the most part, when you look at how Pittsburgh really, to me, we gave them the game. I felt like Baltimore had this game in the bag. I feel like the defense for the first three quarters played well. Latavius Murray had the quietest 150 yards I have ever seen.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming, or act like I know this was coming, because I did it.
I did not see that coming at all. I do have an issue with the play calling. To me, the turning point of the game, particularly when you run the ball, Pittsburgh they didn't make any adjustment. I'm just saying, okay, let's just keep running the ball. And we did not do that. Getting into the red zone, this is where Greg Roman lost. You lose me. So if something has worked pretty much the whole game, your running back has over 150 yards. We're in our red zone. Why not run the ball? That interception he threw in the end zone, Huntley, because the intended pass was for Mark Andrews, but it was a bad pass. My question is, and Tyler Huntley had said it, he was not comfortable trying to get the ball to Rashard Bateman because there was a flat defender. But what bothers me is that if you have a guy in Rashard Bateman, I guarantee Rashard Bateman would have made that catch. Just lob it up there. I have seen Devontae Adams. I have seen Michael Thomas. I have seen wide receivers that are not even on their level make those plays. And Huntley decides to just lob it up there to Mark Andrews and just say a prayer. Oh, Mark will catch that. You threw it in double coverage. That made absolutely no sense. And then really quick, and look, Snoop, I got no beef with you. I think you stepped in and took over and did the job that you were supposed to do. The 4.5 games that you have played. I have nothing but respect and admire and appreciate the work that you put in. But this game, ladies and gentlemen, the noise was quieted about him being a starter. I don't even know where this narrative came. I don't even know where this narrative came from, that there was competition between Tyler Huntley and Lamar Jackson. Tyler Huntley has shown that he is a good player, but he's a backup. if you put Tyler Huntley on any NFL team, you know what they're going to say? It was a mistake to sign him in the first place. 4.5 games is not enough tape to tell me, hey, that's a guy to take a chance on. Yes, Tyler Huntley shows he can throw the ball a little bit better than Lamar, but his decision-making in this game particularly, you have to question it. We're not going to even get into the butt fumble where you ran into your own center in the 2 interceptions that you threw. He kept his composure throughout the game, but I just think that when it counted the most, I was looking for something to happen. There was no spark. I felt like the moment he threw that second interception, that was game. And again, 249 yards on the ground, and Pittsburgh made no adjustment to that. And particularly when we went into overtime, and we had a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. And I'm also too Marquise, aka Hollywood Brown. You had that man had 2 crucial drops. The pass thrown to him in the end zone. He left his hands back at home, at the hotel, whatever. He left his hands. And then the play where it's a great pass out towards the sideline. He catches it and lets Minka Fitzpatrick just push him. I mean, all he had to do was blow on Marquise Brown, and he drops it. You've got to make those plays. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what bothers me about this offense. Execution lacks. And and ever since that Miami game, you just see a team that's failing to execute when it matters. We can point the finger at Greg Roman all we want to, but at the end of the day, if you got guys that cannot execute, this is what happens. All these games that we've lost have been decided by a combined 8 points. Let that sink in. I mean, the fact that we let a team, honestly and truthfully, their defense is the reason why they're going to the playoffs. We love the fact that the Raiders, no disrespect to the Raiders Nation, the Las Vegas Raiders are going to the playoffs. And I don't know how to feel about that. Opportunities right there we had numerous opportunities for the Ravens, and they blew it. Now, in Friday's episode, we're going to talk about a couple things. I'm not going to talk about in this episode because I don't want to be on a soapbox. But in Friday's episode, I'm definitely talk about my overall thought of the season, what went right, what didn't go right, what needs to be improved on the offseason. Because whether we want to accept this or not, particularly these last 2 months, 2.5 months, this was ugly. It was ugly football to watch. I mean, don't get this team's talented. Don't misconstrue my words, but poor execution when it matters the most. And then don't get me started in overtime. When I needed the defense, they let me down. Like when you're down to your last corner, it was Brandon Stevens because Chris Winstry went down with an injury. I mean, there was just so many things that went wrong. I mean, on that play where Najee gets the first down, the pretty much the game-winning first down, Jalen Ferguson, he's still letting the defender hold him. The way Jimmy Smith is coming off the edge. And it's just like so many mistakes. There's so many things that just went wrong. When we needed the defense to make that one play, it did not happen. I mean, yeah, for 3 quarters, the defense did its job. And come in the fourth, and then overtime, no. They can sit there and say, well, watch what happens next. We can run it back next year. I mean, that's great. But our record says 8-9. And that was very disappointing. I'm disappointed that this is how we're going out. We're going out on a 6-game losing streak. And to make matters worse, you're 1-6 in the AFC North.
Relationship with your
Oh,
children.
my God.
We can talk about injuries, COVID, all that. We can say all those things, all these things, all we want to. But we are what we were. We were not. I was confident. I just said something said to me, this team's not making the playoffs. It's not happening. It's just not. So disappointing. And then to make matters worse, to see those guys in the locker room and you saw Mike Tomlin dancing, that just ruined my mood. But also too, in Fridays, and I want to address this. I think for people to be calling for John Harbaugh's job, I think that's crazy. I think we need to understand that there are some things that have to change. And I'm going to say it again for Friday's video. But I think to have call for that man's job like that, I think it's crazy. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Big Ben Roethlisberger,
Congratulations! Oh my God.
let's transition to the Washington football team. So, 22-7 was the final score. The New York Giants didn't even have a squad out there to even they didn't have the cap to have a full 53-man roster out there. Oh, hold on.
Bullshit.
Wrong clip.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Top of that, Joe Judge talked some trash, talking about players on the Washington football team fighting on the sidelines. And here you were, you didn't even have a full squad out there. So pretty much, yes. Anywho, a couple of things I took away from the game. I'm glad we actually went out on a high note. We finished the year 7-10. Even though to a certain extent it really wasn't the most exciting game, there was a couple of things that I liked. Antonio Gibson, for the first time in his career, is over 1,000 yards. Terry McLaurin, over 1,000 yards receiving. That's the second season in a row he's had that. The defense looked really great out there. How was it that he held New York under 200 yards? I think it was like 177. And then also, too, whether we want to look at it or not, Taylor Heineke, I've tried to give Taylor the benefit of the doubt, but he's just a backup. He's a backup quarterback. I think this is what he's going to be. I don't know if it's the system. I don't know if it's the system. I don't know what it is, but for a guy that has stepped in there, I would have thought he would have learned. I thought he would have been that guy and learned the system over and over and over again. But it just didn't look good. Bobby McCain, I gotta give him a shot. He had 2 interceptions. He actually had a pick 6. Gotta give him a shout out on that. The Washington football team. The New York Giants on a 3rd and 9 in your own backfield, a quarterback sneak.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Let me get this straight, because I'm confused on that. What was the thought process on that play? Is that we're just going to throw our hands up of it? And that really lets me know it was time for Joe Judge to go. Because I'm sitting there looking at the play and I'm like, what are you doing? What was that? I mean, and he tried to explain it, where he was like, well, hold on, I have it right here. Ultimately, like, here's just it. Ultimately, look, we were backed up. I wanted to get room. We were going to push forward. I wasn't going to go live through what happened last week in Chicago. We were giving ourselves room for the punt. We did that. We just gave room for the punt to be protected. We covered it well. Well, on the I get it, but that's not the play I would have ran. I would have had at least, I don't know, a halfback draw. I would have had at least a slant, something. That's just boneheaded. I'm sorry. That's just weird to me. Again, I kind of do want to go back on with Washington. I mean, Heineke, 9 of 18, 120 yards. Again, the first drive of the game, but I don't know. I think it was just a bad pass to Cam Sims, but it's just the same thing we've seen over and over and over again with Taylor. I just don't get it. I really don't. But whether, I think the story of Taylor Heineke and to get where he's at now is great, but no, he's not the answer for Washington. Shout to Sean Spencer. He's talked about it. And we all thought Ryan Fitzpatrick is not the answer neither. I think Washington, they're smart. I mean, you could see what's out there in the market. You could try to trade for a Russell Wilson, get Jimmy Garoppolo. We can try, but I mean, that's just bad. That was just really bad. Again, like I said, also to be signed Charles Leno to a 3-year deal. But like I said, there's a couple of things. Like I said, I'll get off into what Washington needs to do for the offseason. I'll hold off onto that. But shout out to the Washington football team. Good year. Disappointing, but we went out with our heads high. Couple things. We're going to get a healthy Chase Young back. The biggest thing for both teams, Baltimore and Washington, is getting everybody back healthy, because there were a lot of injuries and it showed on both teams. Watching the games, it was brutal. It was just awful to watch, and it's going to be an interesting offseason for both teams. I can't wait to see what these two teams look like preseason and in regular season. But let's go to the game of the weekend. I think the game where everyone lost money. The Los Angeles Chargers blew it against the Las Vegas Raiders.
What the hell was that? I'm pissed off. Get it together. Y'all look like trash.
The Las Vegas Raiders are going to the playoffs.
Congratulations! Oh my God.
Justin Herbert willed his team to win. I thought the pass to Mike Williams in the end zone at the end of the fourth quarter was probably one of the best passes I've seen. Vegas came out guns blazing, 10-0. Particularly the play with Foster Marneau. That was a good pass. Josh Jacobs had 132 yards. Their defense, I got to give the Las Vegas Raiders a shout out. That defense is something. They those boys can play. The biggest thing to me, I looked at it. I think that was one of the reasons they won the game. I think that was the X factor, was their defense. Josh Jacobs, 5 yards on the per carry. That's some of and then the setup. Max Crosby winning the game-winning field goal. Max Crosby had Daniel Carlson, not Max Crosby. I'm sorry. Max Crosby had 2 sacks. Justin Herbert was all in that, was just in and out the pocket the whole game. Derek Carr, let's really quick, let's take a moment to really give Derek Carr his flowers. With all the criticism he's taken over the years as the quarterback, even when they're in Oakland, Derek Carr balled out in this game. And I feel like I don't think he was going to get consideration, but in my MVP list, I would give him some consideration because this team, say what you want, this team could have quit, and they did it. They did not quit. I mean, this was a team that was ready, and they accepted the challenge and embraced the moment, and you have to give it to them. Now, Justin Herbert, who I regret trading on my fantasy football team, it's just something special. I mean, me personally, with that game on the line, he bailed the Chargers out. I mean, he did have a pick because they were trying to. It was on a 3rd and long. I can't remember what the down. I think it was like 3rd. I know it was 3rd and long, and the Los Angeles Chargers could not stop the run. Again, Josh Jacobs had over 35 yards. Couldn't stop the run. And then, accept the tie, you call a timeout. Like, I'm like sitting here going, okay, it's going to be a tie. Just let the clock run out. Just let it run out. It's a tie. But it was like, but why? Like, here's my thing. If that's me, I'm running the clock out because as a defense, we have no answers for their run game, and I'm like, why not just okay? Nah, I would let the clock run. Like, I was here listening to some other readings on TV, radio. Some people were saying, no, that wasn't the reason they called it. They lost that game. It really wasn't. The defense just let them down. Here's the thing, and I get it. Let the clock run out. Take a knee, and accept the fact you're not going to the playoffs. Option 2, run a play, run the ball, excuse me, and attempt a game-winning field goal. Excuse me, I apologize. Accept that. And I think that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to win the game. But also, too, I'm not going to ignore the fact as well, 10 penalties and a fumble. They fumbled a punt. That also was key of them losing the game. I mean, man, I really was hoping to see a tie. I really was. So, I mean, look, shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders, man. They're going to the playoffs. Well deserved. I mean, with everything they've been through this year, with the John Gruden emails, Henry Ruggs and the DUI, and John Madden passing away. It's been one hell of a season for them, and I think again just shows the heart determination, that the will and the trust they put in each other. I think it just says a lot about just the upliftment of each other in that locker room. So, congratulations to the Las Vegas Raiders. They're my sleeper team, but man, that was a good game. But thank you. I really just wanted a tie. So And because of that, the Pittsburgh Steelers made the playoffs.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
And then on top of that, like, still, like the Colts lost, and that actually kind of made it. I was like, okay, the Colts lost on okay, that helps Pittsburgh and Baltimore in their favor. But when we lost, I was like, oh no, Pittsburgh's going to make the playoffs. So let's transition into Week 18 picks. I think I was close, but no cigar in this one. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles 51-26. The fact that you had your starters out there, that really, that really pissed me off. I'm sorry. And I talked about it on Shot to Sean Spencer. This Let's Talk Sunday Football with Nick Rosario and Mr. Dylan Walsh. They shouldn't have been out there. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. I thought it was that was a good game. It just came down to a couple of things. Melvin Gordon, I think, had over 111 yards, and he fumbled the ball. I think that was the key. That was to me a turning moment of the game. Drew Lock, shout out to him, had 2 rushing touchdowns. Again, he's another quarterback I could have had. I could have signed him really quick on fantasy football, but I put my trust in Tyler Huntley, and I had Jared Goff on the bench too. So that in of itself, but I still won regardless. But that's besides the point. I think with the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll get into it, but I think they just have to do enough to win the game. And I'm really surprised. Shout out to the Denver Broncos. They came out and they were ready to play, but wasn't enough. The Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, again, that game was meaningless, really, for both teams. It just was a seeding purpose. But to be out there, throw 5 touchdowns like that's not – that bothers me. I don't understand that. So the Cleveland Browns beat the Cincinnati Bengals 21-16. Joe Burrow did not play, and Jamar Chase did get the record. So he did, but I think after that he was done. Set him down. The Detroit Lions surprised the Green Bay Packers. I called that 37-30. The Jacksonville Jaguars at home beat the Indianapolis Colts 26-11.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
The Minnesota Vikings beat the Chicago Bears 31-17. The Tennessee Titans beat the Houston Texans 28-25. But something told me, but that game, okay, Houston Texans, something's going to happen. And David Mills, shout out to David Mills, man. I think the Houston Texans, I think they got their quarterback for the future. Just give him. I think if you just put some pieces around him, and I think the Texans got something going. Shout out to David Mills. The New Orleans Saints did beat the Falcons 30-20, but they did not make the playoffs. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Arizona Cardinals 38-30. The Miami Dolphins beat Bill Belichick and New England Patriots 33-24. And a surprising upset, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Los Angeles Rams in overtime 27-24.
What the hell was that? I'm pissed off. Get it together. Y'all look like trash.
Well, I mean, other than that, I mean, I said this was honestly not the best week. I mean, I kind of – then the Buffalo Bills did beat the Jets. So, I would say the 49ers was a shock. Oh, and then the Buccaneers did beat the Panthers 41-17. The Cardinals and Seahawks game, that was surprising. I thought the Bears would have beaten the Vikings. A lot of upsets in Week 18. Yes, I definitely agree with a lot of upsets. Yeah, definitely. I agree. The Jags were definitely one. That was surprising. But look, they lost the last few times in Jacksonville. So it definitely was a surprise. So with that being said, we are going to transition to the segment playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Jim Moore, man. So with that being said, as Week 18 has concluded, now Arrow's 14 seeds have been locked in. Starting with the AFC, the Tennessee Titans have won the AFC North. They are in first place. The Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati. Hold on. Am I saying that right? Hold on. Go back. Wait. There we go. The Tennessee Titans have the first round bye. Behind them is the Kansas City Chiefs with the second seed. They actually play the Pittsburgh Steelers this Saturday coming up. They're the number 2 seed. The Buffalo Bills are the number 3 seed. They play the 6th seed New England Patriots. And the number 4 seed, the Cincinnati Bengals, play the Las Vegas Raiders and Cincinnati. Interesting. Yes. I cannot believe that. Can't even beat the Jaguars in the playoffs. I'm disappointed. And I had the Colts as a top 4. I thought they could have been a top 4 seed after week 15. I thought so. So that's been the AFC. The Green Bay Packers get the number 1 seed to get a first round bye. So we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles will go to Tampa Bay. We got the number 6 seed, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys, the number 3 seed in Dallas. And then we got the Los Angeles Rams versus those Arizona Cardinals. Ooh, that should be an interesting one. They have a good team, but their quarterback is their downfall. Carson Wentz. I agree, Carson. I think Carson's Carson. But I feel like I feel like Frank Reich can fix it. I think it's excuse me. I feel like it can be fixable. It's just me, but we will see. So yes. So with that being said, that is painfully these 14 seeds that are going to the playoffs. Congratulations to those 14 teams, well deserved. So with that being said, the first 18 picks for the draft are locked in. The number 1 overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know his record. You know they have a good. You know he has a record above team. Yes, I do, and it's disappointing. I do know that. The Detroit Lions with the number 2 overall pick. Houston Texans number 3. The Jets 4. Giants 5. Carolina 6. New York Giants 7. Atlanta Falcons 8. Denver Broncos 9th. New York Jets. Again, they have that pick with the Jamal Adams trade. So that pick was from Seattle. Washington football teams with number 11. The Vikings at 12. Cleveland at 13. Baltimore at 14. Philadelphia at 15. That pick was the Miami Dolphins pick. And they also have the 16th overall pick. That was from the Indianapolis Colts. The Chargers at 17. The Saints at 18. And then everybody else will see where they are seated. It's 7 and 25. That's mediocre. 725 of 500 teams. Carson's Carson, but again, like I said, I believe it's fixable. Any upsets you see in the wild card round? No, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think. I mean, probably I will say the Steelers and Chiefs game might scare me. That game actually might scare me because I think that Chiefs and Pittsburgh game could scare me a little bit. I do. Because you've got, I actually could see the Las Vegas Raiders upsetting the Cincinnati Bengals. I like that, David. I like Philly's chances too. Yeah, because TB12 doesn't have Godwin. They said Fournette is on his way back, but I don't know what he's going to look like. And on top of that, like Antonio Brown is, and yeah, that's one of the situation of itself. The NFL is built on upsets. I agree. And shout out to David Wright. You are a very sharp man. The New England Patriots might I could see them upsetting the Buffalo Bills. I could see that. Dallas, San Francisco. Debo Samuel, Diggs. Oh no, I agree. You think the Bengals win, but you think that the Raiders will play a better game. No, I get you, Larry. I get you. I can't. I want to see that matchup. Bill is 0-2 against Buffalo, and beating a team 3 times is very difficult. I agree, but you never count out Bill Belichick. Never can out count him. Then we got the Monday night game, the Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams are beating the Arizona Cardinals in the wild card Monday night.
Guaranteed.
I'm not sold on the Cardinals. I like Kyler Murray, but I mean, besides him, I don't really know who else could change the game. Zach Ertz is great. Christian Kirk, James Conner, Chase Edmonds. I mean, great, but nah. 1-1. Think about the Bills. They are good. They are a good home playoff team at home. Yes, they are. Yes, I will agree with that. Damn, Larry's right. Yeah, they did win the first game. Yep. I think the Raiders game, that Dallas game, Pittsburgh and Kansas City game, that should be interesting. I think Pittsburgh defensively is going to have a big game against Patrick Mahomes because we all know with Patrick, if you pressure on him, he does show tendencies of folding. I think TJ Watt, I think that defensive line has to have a combined like 7 sacks on him, like 2 coming from TJ, like maybe like 2 from Cam Hayward. Run the ball with Najee. I could see that, but the Kansas City Chiefs are going to do enough to win the game, and they're playing at Arrowhead, and we did see this Pittsburgh Steelers team get blown out by the Chiefs. So yeah, and Mr. Larry L says, I think the Bills and Bengals will win on Saturday. Okay, I like that. And the upset could be, like David Wright said, Philly upsetting the soft Tampa roster. I agree with you. I definitely agree. Let's transition to some news around the NFL. Unfortunately, Black Monday occurred, and some coaches got fired. The Chicago Bears, they removed Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace as head coach and GM. Not surprised with that. I was really shocked. Now Kansas City rolls. Pittsburgh just isn't telling enough. Tomlin has a very good record as an underdog, but I don't see it. The Brian Flores firing, that was surprising to me. I think for a team to start 1-7 and then to come out and in the fashion to win 8 straight, to win 8 straight, and then to finish the year off 9-8, and he's fired like that. To me, that's the sign of a power struggle. I don't know if that's ownership. I don't know if that was front office. I don't know. Who got a couple in the comments? Kansas City, KC should roll, but we've been waiting for them to roll. They have a hard time hammering teams, but they should win. I agree. That's shocking to me. I think some of it has to do with the fact that, and I was surprised too, I think some of it had to do with Deshaun Watson. I think Brian Flores, wanted Deshaun Watson in Miami. And I think front office and maybe ownership said, no, we're not getting him. I was actually kind of surprised that I kind of want to know what the players are feeling on that, because I never heard any indication of, I never heard any bad thing come out the locker room saying, well, we don't trust coach. Flores getting canned will be the Miami curse. I don't know. I don't know about a curse, but I do think him getting fired was not a smart decision. Miami made a huge mistake. They were faced with choosing a head coach who didn't want his quarterback. They chose the quarterback in case they chose wrong. Watching them. That's yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. No, I agree with that, David. I don't think he wanted Tua. I think he wanted Deshaun Watson. And also, honestly and truthfully, like Justin Herbert was there as well. So I'm just shocked on that one. Brian Flores will have a head coaching job. Guaranteed. Vic Fangio was also fired by the Denver Broncos. I agree. They did. I'm happy for Flores. They did him a favor. He's number one coaching prospect. He will land on his feet if he's paid. I agree with that, David. I agree with that 1,000%. Old man Vic Fangio was fired by the Denver Broncos. It's just time for a new voice. It was just time. He wanted Herbert. Yeah. Let me look at the GM for the Dolphins. I think his name is Chris something. Chris, I want to say not Chris. What's his name? I'm looking up right now. Chris Greer, and it was a power struggle. It was definitely a power struggle. You could tell. So, but Vic, like I said, it's just time for a new voice, new change. And look, whoever the next head coach for the Denver Broncos are, I think they're inheriting a good team. I will say, for the most part, when you start off 3-0 and then finish the year going 4-10, the way that happened, that's disappointing. I mean, 19-30, the Broncos weren't going anywhere. So, I think he'll find like an assistant coaching job. But he could probably be like a linebacker coach. He knows his defense. He definitely knows his defense. Because I know, like, when it comes to scoring and total yards and like fewest penalties allowed, he knows his defense. So he could actually find himself as a good defensive coordinator. Hope they do live. What else? Mike Zimmer was also fired by the Minnesota Vikings. I knew that was bound to happen. I mean, really, ever since the miracle catch in the dome, a couple things went wrong. I mean, they're going to have to address. They spent $46 million. That's why I'm not sold on Kansas City. Struggled big time versus Denver and Drew Lock, and even got injured in the process. They're going to have to address that defense with Minnesota. I mean, $46 million invested on it in the defense, and it didn't, and it just disappointed. So, Mike Zimmer, he'll probably will be an assistant for a team. I can't see him getting another head coach job. I think he'll be like a linebackers coach, an assistant to the defensive coordinator, something like that. Because I mean, again, he's another defensive coach. So, yeah, I think it's time for a new voice for the Minnesota Vikings. And again, who's going to take over for the Vikings, I think they got a good team. You got a decent team. You got Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Conklin, KJ Osborne. Sam coordinators are always amazing at what they do, but they always want to translate to the head coaching position like Jason Garrett. I agree. So we'll see. I mean, whoever's taking these jobs, they're inheriting good teams. And unless you are – no, that's okay. What else? Joe Judge obviously was fired. I'm not going to really – I mean, this was Brandon Staley's first year. I mean, I get it. I mean, if we're going off by his decision-making or what he did with that last-minute play calling, I mean, 9-8, I mean, I'm not going to call for that man's job right there. That coach is a coordinator. He needs a head coach to filter his wild moves. Okay. Now Joe Judge was fired. I think everybody was like, how could you have fired Brian Flores before Joe Judge? 10-29. Look, David said it. Everybody can't transition from a coordinator to a head coach. Another coach of the Bill Belichick tree failed. I'm sorry, he was 10-23. I'm sorry, not 10-29. I apologize. I had that wrong. Who knows? He could possibly be back in New England. Yeah, I'm with David on this. I give him another year. Yeah, let's give him another year. So that was Black Monday. The Denver Broncos. So they had a sale. I think there was a sale of the ownership because the great Pat, obviously we know Mr. Pat Bowlen passed away not too long ago from dementia. And there was I guess there was a dispute of sale between him and Mr. Edgar Kaiser. So the court decided that a right of refusal of refusal, because there's something about in the will of Mr. Kaiser, it's no longer valid. So pretty much that they're going to go forward with the sale. The Bowlen family is not going to be a part of that sale as well. So it looks like it's just a step forward in selling the team. So, yep, luckily for the Chargers, they are in LA and get lost in the shuffle. If they were still in San Diego, people would be pissed. I agree. As a Cowboy fan, I was very wow. Dallas could find themselves hosting a playoff game next week if things work out. So, yes. Anywho, let's also see what else will happen around the NFL. So, also to the Minnesota Vikings GM Rick Spellman got fired as well. Pittsburgh's general manager Kevin Colbert is supposed to step down too after this year. It's time for a new change up in front office as well. I would like to see Eric Bieniemy get an opportunity to be I want to see where he's at as far as a head coaching job. I don't feel like Jim Harbaugh will. I think he's going to stay at Michigan, just like what Mike Tomlin said. There's not a big enough check for Jim Harbaugh to leave Michigan. I mean, he got past. He beat Ohio State, and he was in the Final Four. So I can't see him being back in the NFL. It has to be, for me, the right price, and yeah, I just don't see it. I don't. Also, in the next episode, he's retiring after the draft, and Pittsburgh will miss him. Yeah, he's made that. Yep. Harbaugh's went to the Raiders. Again, we'll see. It wouldn't faze me if he goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. It would not faze me. But he knows. I think he's inheriting it. Whoever, again, with that Raiders team, they are inheriting a decent squad. I will say that for the most part. Decent squad. So that's pretty much all around the news so far. Even that the Carolina Panthers are even listening about offers for Christian McCaffrey. Oh, I guess like they're done with him too. That's sad. But I will give my previews of, and also next week and Friday's episode, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, all that in next episode. So let's transition to the national championship game, Georgia versus Alabama. Shout out to Anthony Handy and the Georgia Bulldogs. Congratulations. Since 1980, a final score was 33-18. Couple things that I took away from this game. Georgia's defense looked better. What Harbaugh has done in Michigan is his ticket back, though, if that's what he wants. I agree. Their defense, Georgia's defense, was different from what I saw in the bowl game. Looked really different. Alabama did not make the adjustments to what Georgia was doing on defense. They were blitzing from pretty much every direction. And I mean, there was inconsistencies, but it got the job done. Alabama's running game, congratulations to Anthony Handy weighing on this since he was 9 years old. Absolutely. Brian Robinson, they tried to give that man the ball on halfback tosses and counters. It just didn't work at all. They stacked the box and they only had played one high safety. That was it. Alabama tried to make the adjustments, but by then it was too late. Alabama only had 30 yards rushing on 28 attempts, and Chase Young had a negative 43.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
The negative 43 came on the sack. Yeah, man, it was a great game. I tweeted it out. Georgia Bulldogs to win the game. Robinson had 68 yards when he played Cincinnati. No, he had 60 yards. No, I'm sorry. He 68 yards last night compared to, I think he ran over 200 yards against Cincinnati. I think also, too, losing Jamison Williams, that hurt Alabama. He did tear his ACL. I thought that was the turn of the game. Bama's defense was the key. They folded when the play calling ramped up late in the game. Yes. The Bulldogs linebackers are elite. The Bama quarterback could not scramble. I like that. I like that, Larry. I got to give Stetson Bennett some. I got to give him his love. I mean, I think from what he's, from being a walk-on and people really wanted JT Daniels, and Kirby Smart putting his trust in the mailman. He delivered. The fumble, because he got sacked from behind. That was really the mistake that they had. But I was like, oh, here we go. This don't tell me this is starting to give me the SEC game. But I think that's where I just saw something in his eyes when they showed him on the sideline. I'm like, okay. He has that look like, okay, we're not gonna let that happen again. Kept his composure, two, and then the next 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. The one where it was a dime to Mitchell. I thought that was a really great play. If you remember, I'm not sure you remember in the Iron Bowl against Auburn, Alabama. It was the same play Bryce Young did, which was actually, it kind of looked like that. It did. Saban is a defensive guy. For them not to be able to lock it down late in the game was surprising, particularly the one play on running the ball. I think when they had a couple plays, the pass interference, the roughing the passer and the pass interference right there, I think that was I thought that was the game right there, late in the game. So, true American underdog story, I agree. Yeah, it was, man. The game felt off for a Bama game. All field goals. Absolutely Larry, amazing story. I got a feeling that we might get similar underdog winner. I agree with that, Larry. I do. I mean, look, this game delivered. I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting there going like, okay, is this just going to be Alabama? Once again, roll tide, and we're never going to hear the end of it. But whether we want to give it or not, I have to give Kirby Smart his flowers. I mean, this season, this was a good Alabama team. And yes, if they had all the healthy guys there, I think that makes a difference. With the Packers and Rodgers, the big team, possible to get KO'd. But that's too far ahead. Okay. I mean, look, I think next year they're going to get a healthy squad back. They're going to get some new recruits, and I think Alabama will be fine. Georgia's defense, one word, elite. They still have some things that they need to fix on offense, which is always fixable. And this is an offense that you would go and look at like, this is an offense that beat Alabama. It was a totally different team from the SEC championship game. So shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs. But also, too, I think it also signals for me, like with women's basketball with the University of UConn, UConn's not the same, it's not the powerhouse team. You've got South Carolina, Maryland, Stanford, NC State, Arizona. You got those schools ahead of UConn. Now, when we look at college football, it's not Alabama. Now we can talk about Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, those schools that you would go, oh, okay, I think can hold their own against Alabama. Like this season, as for me, watching college football, this was actually the first season where I actually got to really watch all the games and really enjoy watching college football. Like I actually last night, I was jumping for joy, particularly when he threw the pick six, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is going to happen. Like Georgia is going to do it. Like not seeing Alabama hosting up the trophy and not seeing on social media or hearing on TV or radio, roll tide. Like this was one of the first seasons where I got to enjoy college football. And it just lets me know that, no disrespect to, like, again, everybody has their time at the top, but at some point it's going to be somebody else. So shout out to the Dogs. Congratulations on the big win. And I can't wait for next season. I mean, this was a great college football season. I mean, my Maryland Terrapins, the football team, got a Pinstripe Bowl. Haven't been there been winning since 2016. It was just a really good college football season. Yes, I agree. It's good for the game. Definitely, David. Definitely good for the game. Let's transition really quick to Major League Baseball. It is day 43 of the strike. The players and the owners will finally, after damn near 43 days, come to some meeting, try to talk it out and hash this out, because I mean, no progress has been made. I feel like each side wants, they're staunch in what they want. I mean, we've got February, I'd say around Valentine's Day, pitchers and catchers report to spring training. And if that's, I don't do baseball, I'll be back at 10. We need some smaller schools and conferences to get some TV time. I'll come back to this. Yes, baseball. Yes, baseball is on strike. I don't do baseball, I'll be back at 10. But no, I think I want to see what these negotiations, what are we going to give? What's going to give? And to me, this meeting Thursday, I'm kind of concerned what they're going to do. The last meeting that they had was December 1st, and they said that meeting it was less than 10 minutes. The owners were like, no, we're not going on that. So let me just go over some things about what happened. So pretty much the players feel like they want to change a couple of things. They want the lottery to be fixed because they're tired of seeing teams like the Orioles tank for the number one overall pick. But I kind of find it weird that they threw my team under the bus when the Houston Astros did it. And look at the teams they're doing it. There's other teams in Major League Baseball that are tanking too. The Pittsburgh Pirates. Excuse me. Again, I feel like most of it is also to the one a universal DH. They don't want a salary cap. The players don't want a salary cap. Those are kind of the main things that they want change. They also want changes to free agency, revenue sharing. The players just want more money. They want more incentives. And I just don't think it's going to happen, because I'm going to give an example. Albert Pujols, and I'm using him as an example because this is why I'm starting to understand why contracts that big are a disaster waiting to happen. Is there money to around? No, like, for example, there's no salary cap. Like, for example, I think as of right now, let me just double check. The highest paid player currently is Marcus. I want to say it's Marcus Semien. No, it's as of this season, it'll be Max Scherzer. He's supposed to make $43.3 million. Behind him, Garrett Cole, then Mike Trout, Strasburg, Rendon, and yeah, the list goes on and on. But for example, right, Albert Pujols, when 10 years ago, 10 years? Yeah. He had signed a 10-year deal with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Still, I cannot wrap my name around that. They're the Anaheim Angels to me. Okay, this year was the last year of that 10-year deal. And obviously, Albert Pujols, he's older. He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer in my book. That the Angels decided to cut him. And pretty much that's $30 million that they didn't want to pay. Like, that's the issue. Like, we're giving up these long-term deals, and they come back to bite you, and then you know what? Chris Davis got a 7-year deal for $161 million by my Orioles. We have to pay him because still have to pay him, I think it's $17 million until like 2030 something. Pretty much everybody Bonita. Wander Franco just got an 11-year extension. Like, there has to be some type of a cap. Like, look at Mike Trout. As great as Mike Trout is, the Anaheim Angels have made the playoffs one time. Look at what they're doing. They're giving guys 1-year deals. Pitching. This past draft class they had are all pitchers. Like, what are we talking about here? Are you afraid that your money's going to jeopardize? Because these owners, they see the money, and unfortunately, I don't like it. I want all these players to get paid. I want all of them to get their money, but these contracts are ridiculous. I'm not giving no guy no 15, 13, 10-year deal. And it happened. I think the max should be a 6-year deal with an option of a 7. I think a 6-7-year deal is fair. Because look at the Colorado Rockies, for example. They gave Nolan Arenado all that money, and then after his first year of that contract, traded to the St. Louis Cardinals, and also $50 million, and they got nothing in return on that trade. So I don't see what's wrong with the salary cap. Let me get to the comments. Baseball seems like a sport where only one dude on the team is crazy rich and the rest of the team is making coins compared to him. And they talked about, too, how they don't want the players to be on the draft picks. They don't want them on bad teams. They also, too, want free agency change. They want guys to be able to enter free agency at a certain point. Like, I think you're held until you have to be on the team for 5 years. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm saying that right, you have to be on the Major League Baseball team for 5 years and then pursue free agency. NBA don't miss. They had LeBron make 10 finals, Mike Trout, 0 World Series. Baseball owners are just smart, but it's a different formula. I see what you're saying with that. Now, the Players Association, like I said, they want more revenue sharing and more material gains. Pretty much, it's just – I don't think this is going to go well. The meeting's Thursday, and, yeah, salary cap is the difference. Yeah, and I don't think – and the players don't want that. And the NBA, really quick, the NBA CBA is accepted, I think, next year. All I'm going to say is watch. Just watch with that, because it's going to be ugly. I also want to transition. Let me transition. I want to send my thoughts and prayers to Gene Ramirez, bullpen catcher for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Unexpectedly passed away at 28. I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to him. Apple and Major League Baseball are having some talks about broadcasting games with together. Camden Yards. We are adding dimensions. We're adding 5 inches to the wall in left field to reduce propensity for home runs. because like it's going to be moved back and heightened because like I think it was 333 feet, and now it's going to be 30 feet, and it's going to be like around 12 feet high, so something like that. I mean, look, Camden Yards is a hitting friendly park. Hold on, but money doesn't equal wins in Major League Baseball. I agree. Look at the Tampa Bay Rays; they might make the World Series next year. I agree. They were one game away from making it to the World Series with the bubble. Tell it to the Steinbrenners. I agree. LOL. Yeah, watch the Mets make the World Series before the Yankees. Baseball is still pitcher driven. Last time I checked, it is, but unfortunately, it's all about the home runs. Like they came out and admit they juiced the ball. Like they even are trying to take away from the pitchers. You know, you can't put sunscreen on your arm. You can't put this. Like guys are. I mean, everybody. There's always an advantage. People are trying to get an advantage. But let me get back to the Orioles. Pretty much, particularly. Left field is always where home runs are hit the most. And, they want to change that. So, also, too, Camden Yards was the most ballpark that had the most home runs with 277 home runs.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Behind them, the Great America Ballpark that's in Cincinnati, Wrigley Field, Target Field, and Dodger Stadium. So let's also not forget Camden Yards is where everybody's careers are just born. Like I think we've got the most highest on base percentage as well. Just disgusting. Let me start talking about the Orioles before I put my head through a wall. The New York Yankees hired their first woman manager to manage their one of their minor league affiliates. It's going to be the lower A, the Tampa Tarpons. Her name is Rachel Balkovic. She was a hitting coach with the Yankees in 2019. She started with the Cardinals as a minor league strength and conditioning coach in 2012. A little bit about her: she's a softball catcher. She went to Creighton in New Mexico. She was with the Cardinals and the Astros in 2016. She was also with the Houston Astros AA affiliate Corpus Christi, and I like it. Congratulations to her. I already saw the sexist comments on Twitter and other people. It's like, that it's not going to work. Kind of see what that's going to look like. I kind of, I'm curious to see. I think it's just, I want to see what it looks like, and I think she'll be fun. I think, we saw Becky Hammond. Shout out to Becky Hammond. She coached the Spurs. Yankees got no pitchers. Becky Hammond, she coached the San Antonio Spurs summer league team, and they did very well. They won the championship. So, congratulations to Miss Balkovic. I really want to hear some good things from this. So, with that being said, let's transition to the NBA. Talk about the Washington Wizards. We beat the Orlando Magic. 102-100. Bradley Beal had the game-winning block. That's all you need to know. The fact that we let the Orlando Magic score 100 points on us. Kyle Kuzma, 27 points, 22 rebounds. Let that sink in for a second. Kyle Kuzma had 22 rebounds. Like, he's definitely the spark plug I think that we need. I still think the Wizards need to figure this roster out. I mean, Rory. I know Rory came back again in the game against OKC tonight, but I'm not sold on it. I'm sorry, I'm just not. I'm not sold on it. NBA has been wild. Some of these games make no sense. I agree. I definitely agree. Bradley Beal had 20 points. KCP had 14. Galford had 12. I think Dinwiddie had 8, and he had 10 assists, if I remember that correctly. Again, defensively, let me play the clip. Hold on.
What the hell was that? I'm pissed off. Get it together. Y'all look like trash.
Terrence Ross scored 16 of his 32 points in the third quarter. Had no answers for him. Like, I mean, Terrence Ross outscored Washington's bench, our bench, 43-21.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Like, I don't understand if we have a defensive-minded coach and our defense almost cost us a game. I just think I'm sorry. I just think you got guys on this team that just simply just don't know. I don't know if it's the system or what. What the hell was the Nets doing losing to Portland with no Dame and CJ McCollum? Hey, shout out to Anthony Simmons. He's definitely taking it. He's definitely taking the opportunities he's taking the opportunities that's given to him when Damian Lillard is out there. Get some sleep, Larry. Good to meet you, man. Much love, Nate. Keep it work. I appreciate you, David. Appreciate you. Keep up good work. Keep up good work. Also, too, Rory came back in that game. He had a good 6 points and 3 rebounds off the bench. I think they're just going to ease him into the rotation. So later, David, go Eagles. So, yeah, and then obviously tonight we beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, 122-118. We're starting off. We have an 8-game. We're home for 8 games, and Bradley Beal was put back on COVID protocols again, so we didn't have him. Couple things that happened in this game: Montrezl Harrell and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope got into a fight during halftime.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
In my personal opinion, I think it was much to do about nothing. I think there was probably just a disagreement, miscommunication. I don't think Harrell's toxic. What's up with Kuzma? Kuzma's been pretty high. Look, he's been balling for us. He's actually been an X factor to where we are right now. I'm a Laker fan. I was just pissed when we free traded. Yeah, I still don't understand that. I'm kind of confused by your roster with the Lakers. I feel like at the end of the day, they're going to scapegoat Russell Westbrook and saying, well, Russell Westbrook didn't pan out. And then they're going to move the goalposts and say, oh, it was Frank Vogel. He didn't know what he was doing. But I'm looking at Rob Pelinka and the moves that he made. Like, that's not being called out. I mean, you signed Rondo. You signed Avery Bradley, Trevor Ariza. You've got guys that play zero defense. Anthony Davis, to me, I feel like it's the fact. I feel like Anthony Davis has gotten a pass. Larry, maybe you can help me out with that. Anthony Davis, regardless, is the key. LeBron likes these raggedy teams like how he had in Cleveland. I do think LeBron does have his say in that, but they just don't work. And this team just doesn't work. I agree. Excuse me. I don't think you can have all them guys out there and expect to win a championship. I just don't. I don't see it. So, I mean, I think I was like, okay, you got Russ, LeBron, AD. My concern was, how is it going to work? The injuries, yes. The injuries definitely show. He was leading the bubble. I will give you that. Last year, he started off 26-6. The injuries definitely hurt. But also, too, with Anthony Davis, because his history of getting hurt. Like, I think it's the way he plays. I think it's his style of play, and I'm surprised like no one's really sitting him down and trying to fix it. Now they won't win this year unless they add pieces. They're saying Miles Turner, but again, what is Miles Turner and Anthony Davis? Can that lineup exist? Can that lineup coexist? I don't know. But let me just finish up real quick on the Wizards. So Dinwiddie had 22 points, but again, the ball movement is very at times stagnant. Please move the ball. KCP had 16. Corey Casper had 12 points, 5 and 9 shooting. Rory had a good 7 points. Again, we were down as by 4, and the Wizards are doing everything that they need to do to win these games. But again, it comes down to defense. My gosh, the Wizards. Some of these brothers are just going to have to go because I just don't think it's. I'm talking about as far as they need a true point guard. Like Bradley Beal had a point a few nights ago. He played well, but Spencer Dinwiddie is is a combo guard. Like, who's your options on the bench? Raul Neto, Aaron Holiday, and on top of that, some of the defense we've been playing this year. If you're sitting there with a straight face and saying Rui Hachimura and Thomas Bryant can fix this, I just don't know what y'all smoking. I just don't. It beyond gets me. I pulled the thing. The take. I apologize. And then we play Orlando again. I have a feeling that the Terrence Ross is going to go off on us again. It starts with defense. Now this game against OKC, we didn't fall behind. I think we're down as little as 4, but it starts with that defense. And Kyle Kuzma, he's been on a tear. So these last few games. So I think this game, the Washington Wizards will beat the Orlando Magic 111-100.
Guaranteed.
Oh, also too, shout out to Mookie Betts. He bowled a 300 in bowling. Shout out to Mookie Betts, man. Also too, let's talk about the All-Star vote and the first fan return came back, and LeBron James, obviously in the Western Conference for the front court, obviously was in first place. Steph Curry was no brainer, but we had Klay Thompson fourth with 363,000 votes. Wizards have a good roster. They have a good roster, but the pieces are not. It's not consistent. It lacks continuity. Being a 500 team, being 500 is not how the team. I agree. Klay Thompson came back and had, I believe, 21 points against the Cavs. You know what?
Relationship with your children.
my God.
That's all I'm gonna say. One game, and he has over 367 votes. Before Devin Booker, before Anthony Edwards, Chris Paul. Really? One game. And we're saying Klay Thompson. This is just the fans. But, oh, Lord have mercy. But the bat in the East, DeMar DeRozan, MVP candidate. Don't sleep on him. James Harden, he's kind of fallen off the last couple games in my eyes. Zach LaVine, Trae Young, Derrick Rose obviously got hurt. Kyrie too. Kyrie just came back as well. So the NBA has some diehard fans. Yes, you definitely got that right. The Warriors are Brands International. Imagine the overseas votes for Clay. Oh, they're crazy. I think, like they got the one year, Zaza Pachulia almost got in the All-Star game. So Kevin Durant in the front court, Joel Embiid, Giannis, Joel Embiid, Tatum, Jimmy Butler. I'm actually not mad at that. I think the fans, for the most part, got it right. But that Klay Thompson one, ooh, Lord have mercy. that kind of got me shook up a little bit. So things around the NBA. Bo Boy from the New England Patriots. The Denver Nuggets was traded to the Detroit Pistons. Surprising. I like him. That's Manute Boy's son. I think he's still in my book. Could be he could definitely be a good center. He can shoot the ball too. I have seen him shoot. He can shoot. I like him. They talked about trading Tobias Harris. I'm still kind of see what they're going to do about Ben Simmons. Are they going to trade him? Look, I gotta say this. Klay Thompson back. It's going to be the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference Finals.
Guaranteed.
I don't think the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't think they have the firepower. I love PG-13. I don't think they got the firepower. Utah. I think Utah can give one of those teams a run for their money. The Lakers, I definitely don't see it. I think I'm going to give the Phoenix Suns too, Larry. I'm going to give them the edge. I think they're a little bit more balanced. It's just I don't know. I mean, again, this is anything can happen. Anything happen, but you can see you can definitely see has a lot of running city to state until like June. Yeah, I agree with that. John Morant and Fred VanVleet were named players of the week. Now, John Morant had a good game against Los Angeles Lakers. That block he had, that was an incredible block. Austin Rivers. The other night he had an allergic reaction. I'm glad to see him back on the court. So apparently, he had an allergic reaction where his eyes swelled up, had a rash, they said he had it was crazy. Like they had to give him an EpiPen and all that. So that was really crazy. So it was good to see him back out there. I don't think I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will stay together. I think it's newness. I think it's the system. The two of them can complement each other. I do. But I really do think it's the system. And shout to Larry. NBA playoffs, injuries will be key. Yeah, the team that can stay the healthiest the most will get to the finals. Could be Suns and Warriors versus the Grizzlies in the conference finals. I like that, Larry. I like that. Grizzlies also a real balanced team. Yes, and I thought it was really, really crazy for people to say, "Oh, we're winning without John Morant, so we can trade him." That made absolutely no sense whatsoever. So yeah, man. I mean, that's really what's going on around the NBA. Let me transition to college basketball. I want to talk about my Maryland Terrapins, men and women. I'm gonna start with the men because we took a heartbreaking loss to Wisconsin, and we play Northwestern today. And the women, we beat Minnesota, and we played Michigan on Friday. So with the Maryland Terrapins, we lost 70-69. The Maryland Terrapins the men, fellas, we just are looking really, really bad. But we rallied. We were this close to rallying from a 21-point deficit in the first half. Like, Number 23, Wisconsin, walked out of College Park with a W.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Oh my gosh, I think the last time that happened, that's when we were in the ACC. I think it was like 2004. We played North Carolina State. And I think North Carolina, I think we were the 6th seed, and they were the number 2 seed. And the final score was like 85-82. And I was like, oh, they're going to come back and do it. I appreciate the sub, Larry. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to look. You're going to enjoy it. A lot of great sports talk. I'm going to have some guests on here. You're all, definitely welcome. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Welcome. Oh my gosh. Where do I begin? So, I mean, there are some things to take away from it. Obviously the defense. We just not a defensive. We got to get it together. Xavier Green. We can talk about that as well, but since joining the Big Ten in 2014, and since I looked at the statistic, it was since the 1992 and 93 season, we started 0-4 and finished 2-14 that year. I actually looked that up. I was actually surprised. I was like, wow, Maryland was that bad of a basketball team at that year. We just go back and look. I want to see who was. I can't remember who the head coach was that year. I think it might have been Danny Manning. No, Gary Williams. Gary Williams was the head coach that year. 2-14 in the AC. We were 12-16. Who do we have? We had. Let me just give you who was on that team. You'll be surprised. No, and not. No, you think. We had John Walsh, Mario Lucas, Dwayne Simpkins, Chris Kerwin, X-Ree Hip, Johnny Rhodes, Evers Burns, Kurt Schultz, Alan Raines. I mean, those guys. I mean, we got an All-American. Yeah, that was a good team that year. Yeah, just bad. I just don't understand, and I'm kind of curious to see what this Maryland team is going to look like. The type of coach that they're going to look for. I'm been trying to think because there are just times where I think as a unit, players and coaches, I think there's just a disconnect with the miscommunication. I think just the laughs that they're showing, like Eric Ayala, questioning about his confidence. I like when you come out and he said it in the interview, in the exit interview, like he had all of his 19 points in the second half and had 5 rebounds. Like he said it tonight, the game was winnable, but like I don't know. And Danny Manning doesn't look like the kind of coach to me where he's calling guys out. Like there are certain coaches that will let you know when you're not playing well. Like Danny Manning does not look like that type of coach to me. I mean, he sounded like he sounded like he's optimistic, but again, defensively, when we lost to Iowa, 80-75, I think that was the score. We were down. It was like 20. It was not. It was a half. We were up. They were down 12 in the first half. Illinois down 14 points. I just think these last 3 games. Let me just pull up the statistics for you. Defensively, we allowed the Badgers to shoot 68%, 67% from 3, 68, 69. I would round up to 69% from the field and 67% from three. Now, let me give some flowers. Xavier Green definitely did his thing. Excuse me. He showed moments of leading the defense. Now, my issue, again, when I look at this game, is the lapses. Maryland's not, I don't understand why we're not totally locked in on defense. Like the scouting report, like we're giving up easy buckets. We're not closing out on shooters on the perimeter. Like somebody, we're trying to run them off the line, and then like, oh, that's someone that's someone that's going to drive to the lane, and then I'm looking at this game. I'm like, what are we doing on defense? Like, you had someone named Tyler Wall. He led all the scores for the Badgers with 21 points. Johnny Davis had 19. Like, just so many mistakes defensively. We're not communicating on pick and rolls. And again, like I said, we're trying to get shooters off the line, and then or somebody is not communicating on a driver getting to the lane. Just so many freaking mistakes. I got to give it again. Xavier Green had 10 points. He definitely did his thing of containing Jordan Davis, which I thought was Johnny Davis, excuse me. Again, like Davis had 8 points, 2 of 12 of shooting. I think he had missed 4 shots from 3 in the second half. Like Xavier Green and Fats Russell definitely in those after the last 20 minutes of that game played well. But I mean, I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. Like this game, we're not looking good, fellas. That's all I'm gonna say. And we play Northwestern too. Like same thing. I'm already kind of expecting Maryland to look lackadaisical. I mean, I don't understand why we find ourselves in these craters, and I apologize. We find ourselves in these craters, and then at the end of and then when it comes down to the very last moment, we look lost. Now, I will say this: Maryland has. I'll say these teams have not quit. Like to me, I've seen fight and determination. I've seen the team will itself to win these last 3 games, but we're going to need every guy to step up. I do expect Dante Scott and Eric Ayala to kind of see how they're going to look. Like, I looked at this before I started the podcast. I looked at the statistics with both of them. They have struggled mildly against Northwestern. But Ayala in the last 6 games is averaging 19, and Dante Scott's averaging 13. Like, I think those two are the spark plugs. I think Maryland can keep it close. I mean, again, they've shown resiliency, but it's just been they're not capable of realizing they gotta win games, and it's down the stretch is what hurts. Whether it's we're not getting stops on defense and we're not making shots. We're taking bad shots. Like the close games that Maryland's played, we haven't won any of those games. and that's been disappointing. Like, man, the Maryland Terrapins will beat Northwestern 75-69.
Guaranteed.
Come on, fellas. Y'all got to do it. Come on. I believe in you. The ladies, shout out to the Lady Terps. We beat Minnesota 87-73. Unfortunately, we did lose Faith Masaminas for the year as she tore her ACL. I hope she's doing well. I want to send my thoughts and prayers to her. We looked pretty good against those Gophers. Also, too, really quick, I think Lindsay Whalen, former Minnesota Lynx and future Hall of Famer. I believe she had an emergency surgery for appendicitis, I think it was. So she was not able to coach this game. So I want to send my thoughts and prayers to her. I hope she gets well soon and a quick recovery. Now she's supposed to come back against I forgot who they're playing. I don't know time I have, but yeah, she definitely had an appendicitis, something with appendectomy. If I'm saying that right, I apologize if I name dropped that. So, ironically, Tuesday, shout out to Carly Tebow, the daughter of Coach T for the Mystics, stepped in there. But look, I thought we could blow the Gophers out, but that didn't happen. Lindsay Whalen's got a good team. I will give her that. They gave it to us in the first quarter. It was 14-12. But I just think Maryland just has another layer. They're on another level. Let me say it like that. When I look at, for example, Diamond Miller, the dynamics of her offense and defense, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, it's so I don't know if there is a way to guard her, and she makes it look so easy. Like she is a player that you have to limit, and if I gotta keep my eyes on Angel Reese or Ashley Owansu or Katie Benjamin, and I gotta keep my eye on Diamond Miller, that's a lot. And even though she had 10 points in the first quarter, Mimi Collins also too coming off the bench. She's coming off the bench. I think it's gonna be for a few games. But also too, we had Deja Winters. She's a grad student. Also in there, contributed as well. But it was just a back and forth game. Minnesota responded well. They made it a 2-possession game, particularly when they cut it to 5. And then I just felt like there were just times where I felt like Maryland could have blown them, could have taken the game away. We were out rebounded, but again, we made the adjustments. In the first 20 minutes of the game, Minnesota had 7 offensive rebounds. And again, that led to 9 second chance points. Now, we only lost by 3 rebounds. Minnesota, I looked at their roster, they got some size. They got 4 players over 6'2". Now, even though they didn't make an impact in this game, in the second half, we did win on Battle of the Boards by just 1. But Again, the game was close, but Maryland never wavered. The Gophers did not go down gently, and it was I think we were battle tested, but I think we held our own. Angel Reese, I think he should get some consideration for some. She needs to get some love. She had 19 points and another double-double. I mean, Angel Reese is a WNBA prospect.
Guaranteed.
I mean, she was able to hold her own, but like I said, Minnesota, they got some length, and she held her own on that. So it was a big win for the ladies. We actually just our ranking actually just changed. I think we're now back to. I know we were like number 9. I want to say. I think we're at number 8. I want to say we are ranking wise. Yes. Unfortunately, South Carolina is back at number 1. Stanford number 2. Louisville 3. NC State 4, Tennessee 5, Indiana 6, Arizona 7. Us, the Lady Terps, are Maryland. Number 8, Iowa State. And the University of UConn is in the top 10.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Also, too, Muffy McGraw went off on Coach Gino. Look, and some of the things she said, she wasn't wrong. I do think there is a bias that the media does give UConn, and it's been called out. It's documented. So it's the truth. I mean, ESPN doesn't give the same coverage to South Carolina. They don't get the same coverage to Maryland. They don't get the same coverage like Stanford, Arizona. They just don't. And you could disagree with all you want to, but I mean, come on now. Let me transition also to Towson Basketball. Shout out to my Towson Tigers. We'll start with the ladies. We did beat Elon University 66-54. We also played William and Mary. We demolished them 91-55. Our next game is actually today on the 12th. We play Princeton University. We are in New Jersey. That's on ESPN+. The ladies are on a roll. We are 11-1 on an 8-game win streak. And we have 3 cancellations and 2 postponed games. So it works. It works. So it looks like some of these games, it has been moved. We get Drexel on March the 5th, University of Delaware. But it looks like we're not going to play. Looks like we couldn't get Seton Hall or Penn State or University of Memphis in there. So congratulations to the Lady Tigers. The fellas, the men Tigers, we were supposed to play Delaware. That game was postponed. We beat Northeastern 70-67. And we beat Hofstra 78-66. And that was on CBS Network. That was a good game. It was a communication appreciation day. It was a good game. I like that. Really quick. This team just looks really good for Towson. I have to give us credit. Our leading scorer was Mr. Jason Gibson. He had 26 points. And they're doing enough to win games. So the next game is on the 15th. We play Elon University, and that is in North Carolina. So shout out to Towson, go Tigers. Where am I at on time? I am good on time. we are going to transition to the WNBA. A couple of things I want to talk about with the WNBA. So this is going to be a little thing. So regardless of time, because it's almost 4 a.m, I need to get some sleep. I'm going to hold off on talking about my homework assignment, what the 12 teams have to do for the free off season. I'm going to hold that off until Friday. So that article, so that part of what I want to do, of all my hard work, I'm going to hold off on that assignment until Friday. But a couple things I did want to point out: they did offer Jonquel Jones. They did core her. The only question I have with that, I don't think she's going to accept it. I think she wants a long-term deal. So we're going to hold off on that part until Friday. So because I'm almost at 2 hours, and my rant on Cathy Englebert is going to be more than that. So I'm gonna hold off on that until Friday. So be tuned in for that. Cathy Englebert. Okay. Again, let me give a shout out to really quick. Back up. So, really quick, with the recent hiring of Sadie Bordello, that's now 9 of the 12 teams that have head coaches that are women. That leaves Washington, Connecticut, and the Los Angeles Sparks. Connecticut have Kurt Miller. We have Mike Thibault, and the Los Angeles Sparks have Derek Fisher. The last time that's happened was 1998. Say that right? Yeah, 1988. So they still haven't hired a head coach for the Phoenix Mercury. I'm saying here right now, Chastity Melvin will be the head coach for the Phoenix Mercury. Guaranteed. I just see her. I mean, we could also put Pokey Chapman in there. I know. I think it's Latricia Trammell. So, I mean, we'll see. I'll even say Teresa Witherspoon should get some consideration. I'm surprised Taj Franklin hasn't got any love her way. So, again, let's transition to Cathy Englebert. So I was reading this article in the New York Times. Shout out to Erica L. Ayala. In the article, she talked about. She started off talking about Lexi Brown. Lexi Brown had the most craziest offseason, and I do kind of feel like there was a part of me at one point I was like, man, she want to get a job. And because she was on Twitter, she was just all over the place. She was very, very pissed about how things was handled, but how the Minnesota Lynx handled that situation. So she was on, I forgot what the podcast she was on, and she for 4 months was like, I don't know am I going to get back in the league. I felt like she played really well in the bubble before she suffered that concussion. I think when she suffered that concussion, I felt like, oh, okay, I don't really see her coming back. I don't think Minnesota's going to keep her. And I think it was the 17th of April, they waived her. And then, like, I think it was like around the 23rd, 24th, then Chicago signed her. They cut her in May and then brought her back again. And then I think it was the 14th of June, they signed her for the remainder of the season. I feel like Lexi Brown, to me, is a dynamic player. She can shoot the three, and she can play defense. She can play defense. I think it just says a couple. I think what bothers me about the situation, I think it just says what the WNBA has to fix. And again, we can talk about expansion to cities all we want to. If we're talking about this is the gold standard for women's sports leagues, I mean, shout out to Nneka Ogwumike, who's the president of the Players Association. She wants more. I'm just not. I'm not so. I just feel like they have to address roster expansion, and they need to address these other issues. Like when you have, for example, Scott Diggins talk about the hotel they stayed at without Las Vegas, the room that there's not proper staff. Bill Lambier talked about like we got to wait 20 minutes to get food, airline travel, like. Those things to me have to be addressed before we talk about let's expand to Miami, let's expand to Oakland, let's have a team in Toronto. Like I just feel like those things. I feel like we're pushing we're moving the cart without the horse, and like the collective bargaining agreement they signed in 2020. That's going to go until 2027. And I think the salary cap is going to be $1.3 million. And $1.3 million. Now, in the article, a couple things Coach Cheryl Reeves talked about, the $300,000, I think it's like $300,000 increase was just not enough. The players, the minimum player salary from last year was increased by $15,000, which is now $57,000, and then for the veterans, by $100,000, which will make that the $250,000. No, I'm sorry, $215,000. I'm sorry. That's what happens when you try to do large math in your head. Now, example in the article, she brought up Lashea Clarendon, and she said it was a hardship contract. She signed it before Independence Day. And the way how it was explained, pretty much it was in their salary cap to retain her. So, because at the time everybody before the 4th of July was getting cut like butter. I mean, like the Mystics, we cut Kiara Leslie, Stella Johnson, Shatori Walker Kimbrough, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, it was a hot mess. Bria Holmes was getting cut. I mean, this crazy, left and right. Because Lashea was with the New York Liberty, and she said some things happened in New York, and she said, "Oh, it's going to come out. You'll see." Now. Also as well, injuries happened as well. I think with the Lynx, for example, Ariel Powers had a wrist injury, so she was out for a significant amount of time. I think it was just injuries up and down that roster. Not up and down, but some key players that they needed. So obviously, the hardship contract is if you have less than 10 active players. And pretty much what you have, the team has a choice. So, for example, right? So if I had, let's say I'm the GM for the Mystics, right? And Ariel Atkins goes down with injury. Okay, I can either cut her, or I can keep her and just not have just not that many players. I could cut her and sign, for example, Alana Coates, if that makes sense. Or do I just bite the bullet and just say, well, I think Ariel will be back in 2-3 weeks, so I'm just going to roll with the 8 players that I have. If that example didn't make sense, I apologize. But pretty much, you have the choice of, if you have players on your squad that's injured, you can cut them for signing somebody else as a free agent, or you can continue to just go on with the season with what you have and just wait until they come back off injury. All right. Now, in the article also brought up DT, the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, because was it the year 2015 she sat out because the team she was playing for it was a team in Russia she played for, and they paid her $1.5 million.
Oh my God.
So because what she was getting paid in Phoenix was peanuts to what the Russian team was paying her at the time. So like some were saying in the article was talking about that the WNBA is a developmental league. You look at the G League. Again, you have unsigned players that are using that to get into the NBA. Players that need to be developed as well. You have the NBA that has two-way contracts. Same thing is, you split time between the NBA and the G League. I just feel like, me personally, I want to see this is in my order. Expand the rosters. You have to. I think you need at least 15 because I'm just like watching some of the for example, the Mystics, where you only have 6 girls out there dressed to play. Like,
What the hell was that? I'm pissed off. Get it together. Y'all look like trash.
no, they didn't look like trash. Let me just put that for the record. But that's how I felt like. I think we played Connecticut or Indiana before the All-Star break, and we only had 6 people. We only had 6 girls dressed to play. Like that can't happen. I really feel like also too, I gotta see some more. You gotta expand the minutes. 12 minutes. I feel like 10 minute, 40 minutes, 10-minute quarters. Now I want to see it to 12 minutes. I want to see that. Oh, excuse me. Also, too, Jackie Guillermo's in the article, because she played for the Mystics too. Because keep in mind, y'all, these are the same girls, same women, I apologize, that have to go overseas, whether it's Europe, Asia, Australia, don't matter. They got families to feed, they got bills to pay, and they're going overseas, if not making more money and putting their bodies at risk. Like, for example, one year, I can't remember what team Brianna Stewart was playing for overseas, but she had to miss the year because she tore her Achilles. Now, Nafisa Collier, she played in France. So, but because she and her fiance are due to have a child, she won't be overseas. Now, this new league that we got, the Athletes Unlimited, at which they've already started, if I'm not mistaken. It's only for 5 weeks, but pretty much everyone has gone overseas. Like Alana Coates is playing in Turkey, for example. I think Kalani Brown's playing in Turkey as well. Like Kennedy Carter is in Poland. Like, I mean that's the best opportunity for them to get paid, and more. Not only get paid and get more of an opportunity to play than you're getting in the WNBA. There's only 144 spots, 12 teams. Like that can't happen. She even said in the podcast with Asia, shout out to her Asia was a T with A and V. What is it? If I'm not making that much in the league, it's not enough for me to survive on during the year. I'm going overseas to have the summer off. That's what she said. And I was like that right there. She's saying what she's making in the WNBA is not enough for me to survive on. I'm going overseas and I'm making money. So, again, also too, we gotta also fix this. Coming overseas late. We had 55 players alone this year that were late coming home because they arrived at camp late, and then some of them missed their home opening games. Like Mccain Allen, for example, was one. John Quell Jones was another. Just to name a few. Like this will, according to the article, it's going to take 1% of their salary. Like, again, I don't know how you want them to stay here in the country to minimize disruptions and reduce injuries, but how can you say that when you're not addressing that?
Bullshit.
Like that's I call BS on that, because again, you have a league and it's only 5 weeks, and I mean, I have to see what it looks like compared to, like, if I gotta feed my family, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Like, this is the risk I took regardless. Like, whether Cathy Englebert or these owners of these WNBA teams respectively want to get, like, overseas. I looked at the numbers up. A top tier player, like, for example, like Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, they can earn from $500,000 to $500,000 just by going overseas. Yeah, Diana Taurasi was like, after the year before, she said, yeah, they're paying me more in Russia, because I think she was like UMC Elkinsburg, something like that. And the salary that she was making at the time that year was like $107,000. Like, that's nothing. Now this year alone, she made over $221,000, and yeah, on a bad ankle. But again, also in the article, it also said, Cheryl Reeves, there was a good quote in there. I have it here. Quote, "We need greater commitment from the whole NBA and NBA owners. We need greater commitment financially. We need greater investment. This league has been far too long about, the revenues and expense magic. Don't lose $1. That's not how you grow a league." And Cathy Englebert said, "I don't disagree with that. I have a track record of building businesses and growing businesses. That's what we're doing here." And then also to the article, she was also saying pretty much like what bothers me is that, well, Adam Silver, when he came in, because rest in peace, David Stern. David Stern pushed for the WNBA to exist. When Adam Silver came in there, he did not even mention it one bit about helping the league. But it's just, again, the narratives that have been created about the WNBA. I just find it funny that we will support teams like the Sacramento Kings, who have been irrelevant since the late 90s, early 2000s. Okay, they stink. You will support NBA teams that are not, that I'm going to waste my money on, and they're not performing well. Like the Orlando Magic, Detroit Pistons, the Rockets, Thunder. You're going to watch those games. You're going to invest in those teams. But here's a team example: Minnesota Lynx, Los Angeles Sparks, who have won championships. The Chicago Sky just won last season. We're not investing in them. We're not saying, That's the league I'll invest in. But we're going to invest in crappy teams, right? Excuse me. But she also said that here, expanding the league is part of a transitional plan, but not now. If you want to broaden your exposure, probably you need to be more than 12 cities in the country with 330 million people. We're going to absolutely expand down the road, but we just don't expand for expansion's sake until we get the economic model further along. Like, the economic model itself is already tough. We just talked about it, how these women have to go overseas to play here and then go overseas and play and make more money. That's the model. Like, the model should be, they should be here year round, where they have a salary, where they can put food on their family's table, bills are paid, and they have to worry about not being taken care of. Like, example, Cheyenne Parker just had a child. Like, I think in the agreement, I think she still gets paid. I can't remember how much she gets paid, but she's taken care of. Kiki Herbert Harrigan, they just had a child as well. Same thing. They're going to be taken care of. But I'm talking about, like, when they're back on the court, they got to make money. And it's not just also too money playing ball. I mean, we're getting, there's some that get endorsement deals and different things like that, and sponsors. Same thing. But I do feel like that quote with what she said, if you want to broaden your exposure, probably need to be more than 12 cities. Well, again, Miss Englebert, if you're all about expanding businesses, then what is your plan? Because to me, it's kind of like you came in and expecting, oh, we should already have been expanded. Like, that in and of itself, that can happen. Give me a minute. All right, I had to get the water because I needed it. I said tea. Anywho, back to what I was saying about in that article. So I guess what bothers me is that you're coming out and you're saying those things. Well, if you want to broaden your horizon, probably need to be more in 12 cities. That's pretty much saying, like, well, if you want exposure, we need to expand. How can I expand to Oakland, Miami, Philadelphia, Toronto, and there's not a united, hey, I want a team in Toronto. Like, I remember when, like, Drake said, I'm all for it. Okay. What about, those that rep these cities in Miami? Like, where is it starts from the top. Like, there has to be some type of support from these cities. Like, I'm all for a team. Like, I was in the Twitter space. I'm all for a team being in Oakland. My concern is, okay, you get the support. What about for these other cities? I mean, we could also have a team down in, South Carolina, other than, the WNBA team down south. You have the Atlanta Dream, but you could have another team. But I think, again, Also, too, talked about NECA wants more commitments from sponsors, which also will have more money for the players. Again, I just think you need to focus on roster expansion and finding ways to get these women paid. I think that's the key, particularly your top players, because if Diana Taurasi sitting out for $1.5 million wasn't an eye opener, okay, you wait. I'm telling you. Unfortunately, because of the last year was a little different because it also talked about with the draft. Last year was a little different because of the pandemic. Now, I think 2019's WNBA draft, I think, was from home as well. No, it wasn't. No, 2020. I'm sorry. 2020, 2021 draft. Well, I mean, we're in the midst of a pandemic. So I was a little confused on NECA's comment on that. I mean, she was talking about, well, no. What she was really talking, I'm sorry, let me take it back. She was talking about those that weren't drafted. There was some talent that wasn't drafted. I felt like that definitely did not get a fair shake and didn't get looked at. I was surprised. I will say this for the WNBA. I will say that this draft class, past draft class, was 2021's draft class was honestly and truthfully.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Like look, your rookie of the year. There wasn't even the rookie of the year race was like here. Like Michaela Oyeware, like by far was the best rookie in her class. Like Kaiser Gardner gets a pass because obviously she was dealing with some stuff off the court. And by the way, it's good to see her back. I can't wait to see her to be back on the court. Like a lot of talent. Like Kiana Jeter from Towson. Shout out to her. I think she's actually currently overseas, if I'm not mistaken. There's just a lot of talent that just didn't really get the opportunities that I thought they could have gotten. I mean, when you have someone like Dejanay Carrington, D.D. Richards, they're on New York and Connecticut respectively. Destiny Slocum, Dana Evans. It just was not really a good draft class last year. I think if you had a couple people in there like Seitu Sabli or in the Kennedy Carter in this draft, it makes it a lot different.
Guaranteed.
Like the year they came out, I think you had Taya Cooper, Jonah Holmes, Beatrice Momaprier, Kalia Charles, Jalen Agnew, Jasmine Jones, Megan Walker, Ruthie Herbert, Ty Harris, Belle Allaire. Like that draft class, arguably diamonds.
Guaranteed.
I think that was probably the best class. I think if you had some of them in there last year, also to Lauren Cox and Kennedy Carter, can't forget about them. I think they would. Me personally, I think if some of them stayed and came out this past class, I think that draft class last year would have been a little different. But it was a very disappointing draft class last year. Let's not take anything away from the girls this year. I think they'll have a great bounce back season, but I'm gonna let that go. But I did want to close it off with what Nick has said here. I think it's really just the ones us on ownership, investment, and people wanting to pump more into women's sports. We have players that are ready to be part of this league, and I think the league has shown that it can and it's not going anywhere. The WNBA is a great league. I just feel like the narratives that have been created, again, it's unfortunately we live in a male-dominated society where, you know, I think that I believe the narratives in the WNBA have been falsely created. You know, when I talked about the parade with the Chicago Sky, you know, people saying, "Oh, that nobody showed up that parade," which was BS. You know, people, you know, talking about they need to lower the rim. If they lower the rim, you're going to get people to watch. But again, it's just funny that you will watch mediocre NBA teams that play no defense. I mean, you had an NBA team get blown up by 78 points, and you're telling me that's basketball? That's embarrassing. But like I said, one game. You ain't got to get season tickets. You ain't got to be a season holder. Just go to one game. One game and trust your eyes. Because, again, your eyes don't lie. The eyes may deceive you sometimes, but your eyes will never lie. And me personally, as a fan of the WNBA, because, you know, I love the Washington Mystics, I see what these women, the sacrifice that they've put in. They knew the risk and that they took, and you have to give them their flowers. But it's going to take people like me and other WNBA fans, other people that have podcasts like me, to kill these narratives and to continue to help and support the league and help it grow. The WNBA is not going anywhere. It's just not. The WNBA is here to stay, and I mean, it's baby steps. I think as time progresses, I think it'll get better. Me personally, right now, I'm just not comfortable with expanding to cities. We can't even get the air travel fixed. Like, we had the Connecticut Sun and Chicago Sky take 3 flights because they didn't want to sit in middle class. The Washington Mystics sitting at an airport. Poor hotel service. But we should expand to more cities. Miss Englebert, we can't talk about that. Like, talk about these issues, getting these women paid, making sure that they don't have to go, well, after the season's over, I got to find a team overseas to play for. That's ridiculous. Like, my best player has to go overseas and make money. Like, and think about this too, they're away from family. Some of them have kids, take their kids with them. But if separation anxiety, I don't have separation anxiety. But I'm just saying, like, if I was ever like, I'm letting it go, because the more I say them, I'm going to regret saying some things. But I'm just not happy with it. Miss Englebert, I think you're great. I think you're okay. I know what you're trying to do, but from where I sit and where I'm standing, I think it's kind of like you're at a crossroad and you don't know what to do. And we have been giving you the blueprint. It's right there in your face. And honestly and truthfully, like, if you're talking, like, to me, the economic model, this current economic model that these women are under, play for 36 games and go overseas, and then you got the way this also too, this Olympic break, please, it ain't going to work. They need to be here, year-round, where they're paid and taken care of. But again, it starts with killing these narratives about the WNBA, investment from NBA owners and the commissioner showing respect. You can put all that support into gambling, esports, but and still invest in crappy teams, analytics, but Here's a league. 144 women. If not, play the game of basketball just as much better. Like this playoff series, if you did not watch a single game of that series, that was some of the best playoff basketball from round 1 to the finals. Sad. I feel for these women. It's not right, and it's like that's crazy to me. That's crazy. I don't think it's about them. To me, I feel like it's not about the money. I think it's about demanding the respect and recognition that it deserves. I mean, obviously, to a certain extent, they should be. They should ensure that they're covered financially and not have to worry about going overseas and making more money. But
so when are we gonna say something about it? You know what? I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. Because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
with that being said, I'm going to close it out by saying this. Be on the lookout for episode 12. Thank you for those that came in and chopped it up with me for a little bit. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to David Wright. Appreciate the sub, Larry. Again, thank you for the support you give me in this channel. Y'all let me know your thoughts on this stuff, man. On this episode today. Let me know what your thoughts about WNBA and this expansion. Y'all let me know about the Baltimore Ravens, your NFL team. What are you looking for in the playoffs? Your NBA team. Where my Wizard fans? Where y'all at? Wizard Nation, stand up. Maryland Terps. If I got any Maryland Terp fans, let me know what y'all think. Because, oh Lord. But if you like the video, like the podcast, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that like, comment, subscribe button. For those on Spotify, my YouTube channel, it's one Nathan Snell. Subscribe. Also subscribe to me on Spotify. Big Nate Talk Podcast. It is 4:11. I got to get up in 4 hours. So I'm going to go to sleep. But I will see y'all Friday. Y'all have a good night. Stay up.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.